Hello, and welcome everyone to an afternoon stream. We're here at about 4:30 my time. We've got an interesting stream in store for you guys today. I'm going to go ahead and get comments pulled up. Let's see. We'll see who gets first in chat. I'm also going to send out some notifications real quick, guys. You guys have been here long enough. You know the drill. So let's go ahead and get those notifications sent out. Go ahead and get those notifications sent out. We'll see who gets first in chat. Looks like we got Martin first in chat. What's up, Martin? We got Vanessa right behind Martin. We got you know I can never pronounce your name. I call you Ann. We got Ann coming in third. Then we got Ivan in fourth. What is up, guys? How are you doing? Welcome to a stream. What's up, buddy? What's up, Peter? How you doing, Peter? Yeah, we've got an interesting one in store for you guys today. We're going to be talking about how fight or flight takes away your ability for rational thought. So this is one of those streams where it's like, hopefully by the end of it, you walk away from this stream thinking, okay, that makes sense. That makes sense why this happens, right? That makes sense why this happens. So let's see. We got Sanchez and Sky in the house. What's up, guys? How you doing, Sanchez, my bro? What up, Wonder Bro? How you doing? What's up, Raymond? Hope you're having a good day. It's been a long time. Yes, it has. Kate. Hello, Kate. What's up, sweet cheeks? Thank you for that, Kate. How flattering. How are you doing, Kate? Hope you're having a fantastic day. I got first in chat. Yes, you did, dude. Love the new setup. Sorry, I've been absent. You're good, man. You're good. You like it? You like it? I don't have the live sign on at the moment because I need to get a new power strip over there. I don't trust the one that's currently over there because I tried to turn it on the other day and it hissed at me. Pretty sure they're not supposed to do that, so I don't want to burn the house down or anything. But what do you think about the new Vacate Fear tapestry? Huh? Isn't that awesome? Anyway, chat is already filling up, man. We're not even 2 minutes into this thing, so we might as well go ahead and get started. So we got Sanchez, and then we got another Sanchez in the chat. Interesting. Love it looks Halloween. Yes, I was talking to you, Sky. All right, guys, let's go ahead and get started. Chat filled up really quick today. Must be a good time. So, fight or flight takes away your ability for rational thought. So again, this is one of those streams where it's like, hopefully you walk away from it with a better understanding, right? With a better understanding of how your body works, how your mind works. We've been saying recently that knowledge is power, and I truly do believe that. When it comes to anxiety and, your objective being to stay out of the fight, your objective quite literally being just to continue living as if nothing's wrong, because nothing is, and have that accepting inner voice, which just an inner voice of non-argument, non-obsession, non-fight, right? That is your objective. And when it comes to understanding your objective, I really think it's beneficial when people have a better understanding of why their body is operating the way that it's operating, or why their mind is operating the way that it's operating. I feel like most people obsess, which is what Dr. Claire Weeks called second fear, basically. It's the same thing when you obsess and worry. I feel like most people obsess and worry because they simply don't know what's going on with them, right? And when you don't know what's going on with you, it's very easy to overthink it and worry and be very negative, which keeps the nerves stressed and keeps you from healing. So today we are going to discuss how fight or flight, when you are in the fight or flight mode. Now that does not just mean when you're having a panic attack, right? That means tired nerves. That means when you have high anxiety levels. That's kind of the fight or flight side of the brain. When that is activated, your ability for rational thought is overshadowed, you could say, that's a good word, is overshadowed by your fight or flight part of the brain. Now, what does that mean? That means, okay, let's give an example. There's been several people in here recently talking about how they've developed a fear of being home alone. Now, you can apply this to any of your irrational thoughts. But there has been some discussion past few streams, I remember, people talking about fear being home alone. Now, if that person whose amygdala is turned on and they are in the fight or flight part of the brain, if that person tries to fight with that fear of being home alone, if they try to tell their amygdala something like, you shouldn't be scared of being home alone, we've been home alone before, what are you doing? And they start getting really obsessed about that, and they really start to fight with that. Their amygdala is not listening to it, right? Their amygdala is not listening to it. And the reason that they're having such irrational thoughts to begin with is because they are in the fight or flight part of the brain. If they weren't in the fight or flight part of the brain, which means if their nerves weren't tired, they wouldn't be having such irrational thoughts like, oh gosh, you shouldn't be home alone because something bad's going to happen if you're home alone. Those thoughts wouldn't come to begin with if they weren't in the fight or flight part of the brain. They would be their rational selves, right? If the nerves weren't tired and they weren't in fight or flight, they would be their rational selves. They would think to themselves, oh, being home alone, that's cool. I don't mind being, in fact, I prefer being home alone. Something like that, right? When you have a person in a tired nervous system, right? When you have a person who is in the fight or flight part of the brain, they are going to experience irrational thinking, right? And we said a couple streams ago that if you really dedicate to just positive behaviors, which is living your life, that's how the brain learns. By watching you just get up, live your life, have a productive day, a fun day, regardless of how you feel. It learns from behaviors. And we said a couple streams ago that if you just dedicate to just positive living, getting up and living your life regardless of how you feel, and stop fighting mentally, stop trying to add the obsession and the problem solving, just say, what it is, or whatever you want to tell yourself. If you dedicate to that, what happens is you start to teach the brain, you start to heal the nerves, you start to retrain the brain, and then the rational you will come out automatically as a consequence of healing. So then you go back into what's called the rest digest part of the brain, and when you think about being home alone, you don't have a bunch of irrational thinking going on. Automatically, you're just back to your old self that's like, oh yeah, being home alone, that's cool. I prefer it. I like being home alone, right? But you can't access that part of your brain right now. I mean, you can try to force it, right? You can tell yourself things like, oh, I love being home alone, but the brain is still going to try to say things like, oh, if you're home alone, something bad's going to happen. Of course, this is just an example. Apply this to any of the irrational, intrusive thoughts that you're currently receiving, right, from your anxiety. But my point is, fight or flight takes away your ability for rational thought. Now, that means when you're in fight or flight, your brain wants to protect you, so it doesn't want to give you time to think your way out of danger because it sees it as crucial. It sees it as right now. So it takes away your ability for rational thought, and it just gives you these thoughts that say things like, oh, don't be home alone because something horrible might happen. And if you start to fight with that, you just make that stronger. And if you start to fight and argue with that, you're wasting your time. You're stressing yourself out. What you need to do is remind yourself when these irrational thoughts come. Oh, yeah, that's right. Wonder Bros said that these irrational sort of thoughts would come because I'm in fight or flight. Wonder Bros said that these irrational thoughts would be here because fight or flight takes away my mind's ability to be rational. So of course I'm having irrational thoughts about being home alone. It's not the real me. It's just fight or flight telling me a bunch of lies again. It's just fight or flight telling me a bunch of trash and garbage again, right? But that makes sense because Wonder Bro on Vacate Fear told me that when I'm in fight or flight, I don't really have access to that part of my brain that's rational. So that makes sense, right? That's the accepting inner voice. That's an example of the accepting inner voice right there, just using your knowledge. So let's say you're really triggered, you're having a bunch of irrational thoughts about being home alone. You could simply say to yourself, this isn't the real me. This is fight or flight, taking away my ability for rational thought. It's giving me all these irrational thoughts. That's what it's supposed to do. Wonder Bro told me that's what it's supposed to do. Instead of fighting with it, I'm just reminding myself that, hey, I'm in fight or flight. This is to be expected. My rational thinking has taken a back seat right now because fight or flight has taken over, and that's okay. See, that's right there is an example of the accepting inner voice, guys. So you notice I'm not telling you, right, for example, if you have those irrational thoughts about being home alone, it's just one of many examples. I'm not telling you to get in your head and fight with that and say, oh, yeah, but this, and that, and go on and on and on and on. I'm telling you to just use your knowledge, to just simply say, hey, of course I'm having irrational thoughts. Wonder Bro told me that that's what happens when you're in fight or flight. Your fight or flight takes away your ability for rational thought. So of course my thoughts are currently irrational. That's supposed to happen, right? So instead of fighting, you're just using your knowledge. That's your accepting inner voice. You're just saying, hey, anxiety learns why anxiety is turned on. This is good. This is okay. Or you're saying, hey, of course I'm having irrational thoughts. That's what happens when you're in fight or flight. No big deal. Not going to fight with them. I'm just going to remember why they're there, and that's okay that they're there. All right? And then you focus on positive behaviors, living your life. So you're going throughout your day, you're doing things, you're trying to be productive, you're smiling more, you're acting and living as if you're already healed because the brain is watching this. And the whole time you've just got that inner voice of, hey, of course irrational thinking is here. Fight or flight's kicked in. It takes away my ability for rational thought. So that makes sense. Of course, I accept that, right? I accept that. So when people try to fight with the thoughts, they're trying to force their logic on the amygdala, which is just not listening. Fight or flight is overriding all of that right now. Fight or flight is the reason you're having irrational thoughts. Even if deep down you know that they're irrational, they still feel real because fight or flight is overriding, quite literally, fight or flight is overriding the rational part of your brain, right? So next time this happens, no matter what it's about, you can simply have that accepting inner voice of, hey, I'm in fight or flight. This is supposed to happen. Of course, I'm not my rational self right now. My mind's not in my rational self right now because fight or flight. So that's okay. I'm not going to fight with it. I'm not going to argue with it. I know what's going on. I know what's up, right? I don't have to fight with it. I just know that I'm experiencing all of this, these intrusive thoughts and these physical symptoms because of fight or flight. And fight or flight is overriding my ability for rational thought right now. But that's okay. See, this is examples of the accepting inner voice. So you're just reminding yourself of the truth. You're welcoming whatever comes through the door, right? And you're doing positive behaviors, which is living your life, doing things, right? Doing things that you enjoy, living as if you were already healed. So as you drop the mental fight and you just have the accepting inner voice of, okay, this is to be expected. Of course, fight or flight's overriding my rational self right now. And you're living your life. As you're doing those two things, the accepting inner voice and positive behaviors, what happens is slowly over time, the brain starts to get the message, oh, he or she isn't fighting mentally anymore. They're just telling themselves it's okay, it's to be expected, and they're not fighting with it, and they're living, and they're listening to music, and they're cleaning, and they're getting their chores done, and they're watching funny movies, and they're having conversations about sports or whatever. The brain starts to say, hey, maybe there doesn't need to be so much protection going on here, right? So as you're using that accepting inner voice and you're living your life, instead of trying to fight with it all, don't you see that's the problem? Instead of trying to fight with it all, the brain will slowly start to make new connections. It'll start to say, hey, we can back off, right? This protection isn't needed. And then what happens? And this is the beautiful part. Then what happens? Without you having to force it, without you having to fight with it, your rational self starts to come back out because you're starting to go from fight or flight part of the brain to rest digest part of the brain, which is what healing is. And then naturally, thoughts about being home alone, for example, you're a bit more, you notice that you start to become a bit more automatically rational about that. You notice that these irrational thoughts start to be replaced with more rational thoughts. You notice that the brain starts to work for you in a positive way rather than in a negative way. Now, this happens naturally as a consequence, really, of using the two main keys. So you see, we're not trying to force it to happen by fighting with the thoughts. Oh, why am I having these irrational thoughts? That's so irrational, and just fight with it, get all worked up over it. No. It happens naturally as a result of just saying, hey, of course I'm having irrational thoughts. I'm in fight or flight, and living your life. That accepting inner voice, that's not a fight. It's just using your knowledge and living your life. Naturally, as a consequence of that, your rational self starts to come back out so that you notice that you didn't have to force that to happen. You just used the two main keys, accepted what was, and carried on. And naturally, as you start to get back into rest digest, your irrational thoughts start to become rational. Your negativity starts to become positivity, right? So People are in a bad habit of trying to force their rational selves back out, which is just worry, which is just arguing with every thought, which is very taxing on the nervous system. It's the reason you're not healing. Understand that you don't have to force your rational self to come back out. It will come back out on its own as a direct result of you just having that accepting inner voice, which we've already went over several times already, right, in this stream alone, and living your life. As a result of those two main keys, the accepting inner voice and positive behavior, naturally, your real self, your rational self, will come back out. You don't have to force that. So, that's a big hiccup. People try to force it. You don't have to force it. Just use the two keys, accept what is, right? Continue living. And naturally, when you get out of that fight or flight and back into rest digest, your ability for rational thoughts, your brain sending you rational thoughts, will come back, right? So understand, next time you are experiencing very irrational sort of intrusive thoughts about a particular subject, doesn't matter what the subject is, I want you to just remind yourself, oh yeah, that's fight or flight sending me these irrational sort of thoughts. I can't be rational right now. That's fight or flight trying to do its job. And just accept it for what it is. Don't fight with it. Don't obsess over it. Don't argue with it, and continue living, right? And if you adopt those two main keys, you will start to enter into the part of your brain that works for you rather than against you in a negative way, right? So fight or flight will take away your ability for rational thought. It sends you all these irrational thoughts, and that's okay. Don't freak out over it. Don't try to fight with it. Just remind yourself, oh yeah, this is to be expected. Just see through the illusion and continue living, and you will eventually start to tap back into the part of your brain that is rational rather than irrational. All right, you guys. I think that was a pretty good one. I'm happy with that one. That was a good 15 little minute talk there, little rant. If you did enjoy the main point of today's stream, guys, consider leaving a thumbs up. We are on a 204-day streak. If you do enjoy the streams and you want to support the channel, feel free to do so. Link is in the description. We are on that, like I said, 204-day streak, so I would appreciate it. But yeah, that is the main point of the stream. We're going to get some music going, and we're going to hang out with chat for a little bit, see what you guys are up to. I see that we've already got some questions, so I will get to those. We'll scroll up a little bit. But first things first, let's get us some music going. Who do I still have in chat with me today? Luis, what is up? APC, what is up? All right, guys. Music. I'm not sure I like that one, but we'll go. Okay, I can go with that. We got some Halloween music going. Seems appropriate. All right, let's see. What's up, Sky? How have you been, dude? I've struggled being home alone for fear of having a panic attack, and my mind shows me so many images of myself. Appreciate you using this example today. Again, it's just fight or flight trying to step in and override your logic, and it's good at that. But as long as you see through that and don't try to fight with that, then you'll stop yourself from ultimately fueling the fire, right? Let's see. What did Sanchez say? I have my daughter here listening. Awesome, dude. Welcome, Sanchez's daughter. How are you? So Wonderbro, living as if you're healed. Should we do this as much as we feel accepting? Because if I was healed, I would maybe book a board. For now, it's just me getting to the shops and back as acceptance. It's just wondering if only practicing. No. Without even having to finish the rest of your comment, I understand what you're saying. Sometimes when I say that, living as if you're healed, I sometimes wonder if people take that as they should go do all of the great things that they dream of doing, right? When I say live as if you're already healed, I mean on a normal day-to-day basis, right? I don't mean that you feel amazing and awesome and you should go out and accomplish all of your life's bucket list, right? I mean live as if you feel well enough on a day-to-day basis, on a normal day-to-day basis. So even just around the house or during your normal routine, right? Let's see. Awesome. What's up, Sanchez? All right, guys, give me 1 second. I will be right back. All right, we are back. Sorry about that. Stay up. We're going to switch the playlist because that one was getting like really dark and actually kind of creepy. So we're going to switch the playlist up a little bit. Got a short ad to sit through real quick. All right, let's scroll up a little bit, see if we got any more questions. I guess, I mean, I wouldn't walk halfway to the shops and back as I practice acceptance. I'd just go to the shop. I think I understand your answer. It's basically like this. Of course, there's going to be little things that you're not, or you don't feel like you're totally capable of doing right now, and that's understandable. I always tell people they can go at their own pace. But when I say live as if you are healed, what I'm really trying to say is behave as if you're healed. So, of course, does that make more sense? So, of course, you're taking steps to do things at your own pace during your recovery, but at the same time, while you're doing those things, you are behaving a certain way. Does that make a little bit more sense when I use the word behave? Maybe that'll help clarify it for you a bit. Yeah, guys, if you have any questions, now's the time to ask them. Ask the questions, get them in. Get them in, get them in. I'm late again. Hello, Crystal. How are you doing? Today we basically just to catch you up, we basically just spoke about how when you're in fight or flight, you're going to have a ton of irrational thoughts, and you're not going to really be, it's going to seem like your mind is just not being rational, right? And that's to be expected because fight or flight shuts down your mind's ability really to be rational. So that's why you're experiencing so many irrational thoughts, and that's why it seems like you're just a totally different person when it comes to the sort of thoughts that you're receiving, right? So it's to be expected and it's to be accepted instead of trying to fight against it. It's, just a little fuel there for your accepting inner voice. Maybe you can remember that and hang on to that piece of knowledge so next time you're tempted to fight with these irrational thoughts or freak out about them, you can be like, oh yeah, I'm in fight or flight. I've got tired nerves. That's a part of having tired nerves, is that my mind is not being very rational right now. Right? So knowledge is power. Takes away the confusion. I swear, I only get like itchy nose allergy symptoms when I decide to stream. Rest of the day, I'm good. It's only when I stream. Funny how life works. It does. I just found the intention of just living as if you're healed has actually gotten me further than I would have thought I was capable. Oh yeah, definitely. It's just a little catchphrase to try to put people in the right mindset. So imagine you are 90% recovered and you want to expose yourself to stressful situations. What steps might you take to become a super stud? So the question there is, imagined you were about 90%, so you're almost there. Which, by the way, I know this is not the question. I wouldn't use percentages too much because it's putting too much stress on your shoulders. But anyway, to the actual question, what steps would you take to expose yourself to stressful situations? Hang on to the tools that you've learned and execute them, right? So there's really not many steps that you can take to prepare yourself for exposure to a stressful situation other than utilizing the tools that you already have, right? I'll tell you, to overthink it is probably the biggest killer of exposures. So people sit around, they overthink the exposure. Well, what can I do to be really, really prepared for this, right? And then the exposure just never happens. So I think it was Dr. Claire Weeks in one of her books who said, and she was referring to someone who had agora, don't think, just go for it. She didn't use those exact words, but it was something like that. And that's really, it really just comes back to, there's not many steps you can take to prepare yourself for a stressful exposure other than knowing and reminding yourself that you've got the tools and it's time to use them, right? I was just overthinking with the brain. See, oh, she's going home must mean she is scared of panic still, even though as accepting as possible. I mean, there's some truth behind that, right? But at the same time, to go at your own pace still counts, because you're still facing the panic, right? You're still facing the anxiety, maybe at your own pace, but you're still facing. So the brain doesn't say, "Oh, she didn't travel to the other side of the country and back, so she must. There must still be a tiger." No, it doesn't necessarily work like that, and that's why you're allowed to go at your own pace. As long as you're facing, you're facing, and you can gradually, if you'd like to do it gradually, you can gradually face more challenging exposures as you get more confidence. That's okay. The brain is still going to learn, right? All about that mindset. I'm going through a recent divorce and constant anxiety for 6 years. I know all the advice, but it's just a habit I can't break. I mean, you really took the words out of most people's mouths, right? It's a habit, and they can't seem to break it. Eventually, hopefully, you will come to the point where you just say, hey, you know what? I know that I shouldn't be fighting with these thoughts. I know that I shouldn't be telling myself negative things about these feelings or these thoughts or these symptoms. Eventually, you will pick up that accepting inner voice, and you will really give it a true try and practice, right? Practice being a big word there. Eventually, you will get to that point. Unfortunately, there's nothing I can really tell you to force you to that point. But hopefully one day you say, hey, you know what, I've had enough of this, and it's time to pick up that accepting inner voice. I know what's going on. I know all about fight or flight. I'm going to start to use my knowledge to my advantage, and stop the mental fight and use these positive behaviors, aka keep living in a positive way, right? I actually went on a boat with my kids, got to drive the boat and face panic yesterday. Guess what? Awesome. It passed. No, Tiger. I feel like I got a big boost of confidence yesterday. Rightfully so. That sounds awesome. Rightfully so. Proud of you. Yeah, now is your time to ask questions, guys, if you have any questions. So get them in, get them in. Yep, that's true, Luis. That's another good point. Thanks, bro. Absolutely, Crystal. No problem. Absolutely, absolutely. We love the success stories around here. They're very motivating, and I appreciate it when you guys share them. They help motivate everybody. Doesn't matter how crazy the thoughts are with recovery of anxiety. Oh man, I've been doing this for a long time, years and years. I can tell you I've heard just about every crazy thought you could possibly imagine when it comes to anxiety. Every possible irrational, intrusive thought that you can imagine, I have probably heard it at this point. So, to answer your question, no. Why so many intrusive thoughts with anxiety? If you missed the stream, Northern Girl, I highly recommend you watch it back if you're interested in this topic, because really the stream does answer that question. Why so many intrusive thoughts with anxiety? Fight or flight, which means, you know, you can call it what you want to call it. Anxiety, tired nerves, sensitization, fight or flight. When you're in that mode, when you're in that part of the brain, it shuts down your ability for rational thoughts to make their way in, right? So only irrational thoughts, only worst case scenarios, only negativity. And that's fight or flight trying to get your attention. That's fight or flight trying to save your life. So if fight or flight's trying to get your attention, is it going to send you a bunch of happy rainbow thoughts? No. It's going to send you thoughts you really don't want, because it wants to try to get you to fight or flight, right? But good question nonetheless. Good question. That is some great information right there. Just knowing that that's why all these thoughts are occurring is powerful stuff to know. You can use that to your advantage instead of getting so worked up over what's going on. Well, now you know what's going on, right? And that's That's 50% of the equation right there. Thank you, Sky. I usually get seasick, but it didn't happen this time. Maybe because I faced fear, possibly. Either way, W. W. How might one create a wormhole in space and time in their carport? Asking for a quantum physicist. Well, you know what? I don't have the answer to that one. Sky. Wonder Bro, your videos have been awesomely on point for me lately. Today, told myself I'm just holding the spider, and I can never. I hate this word. I can never pronounce it. I can hear it in my head, but I can't speak it. I get tongue-tied. So we'll skip it. I'm just holding the spider. Worry versus intrusive thought. Thank you so much for what you do. Absolutely. Thank you, Luis, for watching and supporting. I appreciate you. Thank you. Whoa, no matter how hard I try, I can't stop the fight or flight. It comes out of nowhere. Yeah, well, no matter how hard I try, I can't stop the fight or flight. I don't know if you've been watching this channel, but I've been doing this for a long time, and I have never recommended that you try to stop it. You don't try to stop it. In fact, if you've been trying to stop it, well, that's your problem, right? So to get into a fight with it, to get into a fight with fight or flight will never work. It's going to beat you every time. You got to accept that it comes on, and it might come on out of nowhere, yes, and you have to accept it. You've got to be submissive, and you've got to say, okay, here it is. That's fine. If I get worked up over it, I only make it worse. I only stress my nerves out further. You have to accept what is and say, hey, of course I have irrational thoughts. That's part of fight or flight. Not going to fight with them. Of course I've got symptoms. That's part of fight or flight. Not going to fight with them. You have to keep that accepting attitude, that mindset, that perspective really, right? And then going to continue to live positive behaviors. So now you're no longer adding fuel because you've got the accepting inner voice. This is to be expected, right? That's what you're telling yourself. And you're living your life. So you're showing your brain there's no tiger. So you keep using those two main keys, the accepting inner voice, positive behaviors, and you will switch from the fight or flight part of your brain back to the rational part of your brain. Do you just breathe? No, you just keep living. Don't sit there and try to breathe yourself into a corner, right? Just keep living. If you were doing the dishes, just keep doing the dishes, right? It's that simple. I know it's not the easiest thing. Trust me, I know. But it is that simple. So you can't expect a brain that's in fight or flight to send you rational thoughts. A brain that's in fight or flight's not going to send you rational thoughts. So you might as well accept that. A brain that's in fight or flight's going to send you a ton of negative, irrational thoughts, and that's part of being in fight or flight. But know that your rational self is still there, and it will come back out if you just use that accepting inner voice instead of a fighting inner voice and keep living positive behaviors. You'll get your rational self to come back out naturally. Hope everyone has a good night/day. Got to go cook dinner for my trolls. Hope you have a good dinner, Crystal. Thank you for the success story. Proud of you. You did awesome. All right, guys, keep those questions coming, man. We've had a lot of good questions this stream. I feel like we've covered a lot of good points. This is one of those streams where I'm like, yep, I'm happy with this stream. I'm happy with most of my streams, but this is one I felt like we've covered a lot of good topics today. All right, guys, I will be right back. Give me like 10 seconds here. I will be right back. If you'd like to support the stream, we are on a 204-day streak. Link is in the description. If you want to make it rain with the money cloud. No, we don't have the money cloud. That's right. I switched it. I need to change it back by popular demand. Anyway, if you'd like to support the stream, we are on a 204-day streak. I will be right back in just a moment. All right, we have returned. Any advice for the urge to flee? Tough one to stay put. Really, I know this sounds like a redundant answer, but it's all going to come back to what you tell yourself, right? Pretty much everything that has to deal with anxiety in this journey is going to come back to what you tell yourself. So it's going to be a lot harder for you, for example, to resist the urge to flee if you are fueling yourself full of obsession, worry, negativity. If you're not in the mindset of motivation, encouragement, and the accepting inner voice, right, more or less the same thing, it's going to be 10 times harder for you to resist the urge to flee or really do anything beneficial for your recovery. So I know the answer is redundant, but again, it's going to come back to really what you're telling yourself. You gotta fine tune that inner voice. A lot of this journey is fine tuning that inner voice, really practicing it, and I mean really using that knowledge to your advantage in those moments instead of getting wrapped up in the trying to problem solve and figure out, right, and the worry and all that good stuff. Wonder Bro, you are such a blessing in my life. I appreciate that, Paula. My anxiety is getting better because of you. Appreciate it. Your videos always helps my panic attacks. Much love from Sweden. Well, thank you for that positive comment. Appreciate it. You're so nice. Thank you. What can you do if you have the... But give yourself the majority of the props here, because this advice is only as good as the person's willingness to use it. What can you do if you have the same sticky thought all day long? Do you still have to repeat yourself to use the accepting inner voice? By the way, thank you so much for these streams. You're welcome. And do you have to repeat the accepting inner voice? If you're fighting, yes. If you're mentally fighting, that should be replaced with just the accepting inner voice. If you're not mentally adding second fear, which second fear just means to fight, if you're not doing that, you don't necessarily have to continue to repeat the accepting inner voice. But if you are doing a lot of fighting, which is worry, arguing, problem solving, obsession, rumination, all that good stuff, more or less the same thing. If you are doing all that stuff, then yes, you really do need to be flexing your inner voice there, your accepting inner voice, instead of doing all those negative, bad habits that fuel the fire. Thank you for the questions, guys. Appreciate it. Good questions. Good questions. Can't pronounce your first name, so I'm just going to call you Banks. What's up, Banks? Intrusive thoughts are getting to me. One thought is that I'm going to stop breathing, and I guarantee you're fighting with that, right? Not only can I guarantee it, I know it because you're here, right? So obviously you're suffering from that. You need to just remind yourself from this point forward, anytime you get the intrusive thought that you're just going to die or whatever, you need to remind yourself, oh yeah, that's just fight or flight talking. That's okay. It is what it is, right? That's an example. These are all examples of the accepting inner voice. But you need to stop trying to fight with that. You need to stop trying to obsess over that or problem solve or argue with that. You just need to remember in those moments with that accepting inner voice, hey, fight or flight is turned on. Of course I'm having this irrational thought. That's okay, right? Instead of adding fuel to the fire by fighting with it mentally, right? So now, at this point, now that I've given you the advice, what's going to make the difference is, do you use it or not? Do you use it or not? And I said that twice, and I'm going to say it a third time. Do you use it or not? Because you can hear me talk about the accepting inner voice and dropping the resistance and the fight and all this negative mental activity. You can hear me talking about that all day long. You can hear me talking about, hey, just remind yourself of what's going on. You know, don't fight. Just remind yourself of what's going on, the accepting inner voice, and positive behaviors. Keep living, even though you don't necessarily feel like it. Keep living. You can hear me say that all day long, but if the stream turns off and you go back to the same bad habits, well, we're just going to go in circles. So I'm not even going to attempt to understand what you're trying to say, Sky, but I appreciate you. Is it possible to recover from health anxiety? Yes. Again, I would drop percentages. I would stop trying to put everything into percentages, because then you're still just doing too much thinking, right? Too much overthinking. I would just say, is it possible to recover? Yes, absolutely. Don't try to put yourself on any time frames. It's unnecessary. It's futile, very pointless, and very stressful. I agree with you a lot there. I'm getting much better with the accepting inner voice and been trying what works for me. Accepting inner voice saved my bacon today. It was awesome. You know, it makes you wonder, why did Dr. Claire Weeks love the word practice so much? Because she knew that the accepting inner voice, which is basically just you reminding yourself of what's going on, this is expected, I accept it, blah, 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 instead of obsessing and fighting. She used the word practice so much, and she loved the word practice so much because she knew that the accepting inner voice is not just something that falls into your lap. She referred to it as something that is earned, and practiced, and really that you just tweak, and you continue to tweak until you continue to use it, right, and get it down pat. What's up, everybody? What's up, Tony? How you doing, dude? The reason I keep stressing this thing about don't put yourself on a percentage, 100% this, 50% that, it's unnecessary. It's just really unnecessary. It's stressful. It's pointless. And you can get creative with your accepting inner voice. You can switch it up. You know, maybe one day something hits home a little bit better for you than another day. I don't know. You'll never probably find the perfect words to say to yourself, but you know, maybe one day you want to say this, and then the next day you want to say that. As long as it's accepting, who cares? My point is, you know, you're allowed to mix it up. You're allowed to get creative, and then, you know, on Monday, something that you tell yourself might help you out a little bit more than on something you tell yourself on Wednesday. I don't know. You get what I'm saying? You don't have to think to yourself, oh, I need to find 5 or 6, 7 words here that I've got to live by for the rest of my journey. No, you can mix it up. As long as you've got that accepting inner voice and you're living your life, you can tell yourself whatever you want to tell yourself, right? Get creative with it. Health anxiety is so awful. Stop it. Stop saying that. Is that beneficial? Is the crying emoji beneficial? Is that the message we want to send to the brain? Or do we want to say something like, health anxiety, you know what? It is what it is. This is to be expected with health anxiety. Of course, this is to be expected. It is what it is. Which sounds better? Huh? And I know I'm pressing you a little bit just over a simple comment, but I'm just trying to prove a point. I'm just using your comment to my advantage to prove a point. So many people in here. Awesome. Yes, it is a great stream today. I agree. I did the Myers-Briggs personality test. I don't know what that is, for fun, and I found this to really help me understand myself, my cognitive functions. It's really helping me tailor the ideal accepting inner voice for me. Again, don't get too caught up on finding the perfect accepting inner voice, because some people have this illusion that if they find the perfect accepting inner voice, they'll never feel anxious again throughout their journey. No, you will. You still have to face some symptoms. So don't try to find the perfect voice that'll just take away all your symptoms. I'm not saying you're doing that, but just for anyone out there listening, don't try to find the perfect voice. Just find a voice or voices, you know, different statements that you like and that work for you. And when I say work for you, I just mean appeal to you, right? And go with it, roll with it. Don't convince yourself there's such a thing as an inner voice that's just going to magically take everything away all of a sudden, right? True Wonder Bro, thank you. Absolutely, Paula. And I understand, don't get me wrong, like Paula and Banks, I understand you're struggling, right? Well, Paula, you said you were doing better with the videos. Congrats. But my point is, I understand people are struggling. I'm not trying to tell you that you're not. I'm just saying that that vocabulary is not sending a good message to the brain. And if you want to overcome this, we got to drop certain vocabulary like that. We got to drop certain terms like awful and consuming my life. And every time you speak like that, you're just reinforcing to the brain that there's a danger, right? Now you're allowed to vent and you're allowed to make comments like that and you're allowed to get frustrated and that's not going to be make or break, but don't get into too much of a habit of that. If that's your daily 24/7 inner voice, well then it's no wonder you're still suffering. It's no wonder that the brain is continuing to think that there's an issue here. Do you need to focus on the thought if you have the anxious thought? Well, it's going to be there, right? You don't necessarily have to focus on it. It's going to be there. You should be responding to it with the accepting inner voice rather than a fight, though, right? That's the important thing. But it's going to be there, but you can focus on positive behaviors, but you still need to, if it's there, it's there. You need to respond to it with the accepting inner voice. Right, right, right. There's got to be cognitive change, right? So the positive behaviors help show the brain that the tiger isn't real, and the cognitive change, which is what you tell yourself, the accepting inner voice, that helps to stop fueling the fire because worry equals danger to the amygdala, right? You can't tell it to shut off, but you can piss it off with worry. So that's why the two main keys are what they are. Positive behaviors, accepting inner voice. That one spooked me a little bit. Hey, Soccer Mom, thank you so much. Let's get some purple hearts. Some purple hearts in the chat for Soccer Mom. First tip of the stream. Guys, we are only 10 minutes away from our hour mark. Tip goal, I don't know. I'm a little nervous about this one. But we did get our first tip of the stream from Soccer Mom. Thank you so much. Let's get some purple hearts in the chat. Soccer Mom says, sucks so much to have a bad anxiety day after some minimal anxiety days. It's part of the healing process. It is a part of the healing process. And no, it's not necessarily fun. And of course, you're not gonna enjoy yourself, right? Like, we don't expect you to enjoy the fact that you have to deal with some symptoms after some good days, but that's just a part of it. Anxiety learns while anxiety is turned on. That's what you need to remind yourself. You need to keep that accepting inner voice and score some points on those bad days, quote unquote bad days. They're really just opportunities. Score some points on those days and further your recovery, right? 2 months of trying to get better again. Well, stop trying the wrong way. And what I mean by that is stop trying to obsess your way out of it. Stop trying to fight your way out of it, argue your way out of it. Just develop your accepting inner voice and fine-tune your accepting inner voice. What is the accepting inner voice? Basically reminding yourself, instead of mentally fighting, things like, oh, I expected this. Oh, this is a part of being in fight or flight, okay? Instead of the fight, anything but the fight, guys. Anything but the inner voice of a fight. Fine-tune your accepting inner voice and get up every day and continue living positive behaviors. I'm going to have to switch to, hold on. I'm going to switch to post-stream for just a second. I got to get a good itch on my nose here. I don't know why I'm getting stuffy all of a sudden. My goodness. All right. We had to switch over because nobody wanted to see me doing all this. Man, I'm not liking these sad faces. Guys, I'm telling you. I'm right here trying to tell you. I've been doing this for 6 years now. The more sad faces and you're going to call me a dick. I'm going to go ahead and tell you. You're going to call me a dick. But understand this is out of love. The more pity parties you throw, the further you get away from recovery. Why is that? Because pity parties consist of negativity. They consist of sending the wrong message to the brain. They consist of a negative inner voice, and a negative inner voice will not lead you to recovery. An accepting inner voice will lead you to recovery. So, I know when we say things like, oh, you're being a victim, you're trying to make yourself a victim, or you're throwing a pity party, that kind of sounds like I'm being a bit of a douchebag. Understand that I'm not trying to be a douchebag. I'm just trying to get you to recovery. All right, that's all I care about. I had a panic in a random creative moment of people pay good money for this and get it for free and smiled odd but worked. No, it's true. I've heard that one before, ironically. Believe it or not, I've actually heard that accepting inner voice several times. Several times. Kate is right. You got to turn this into this. You got to turn sad emoji into happy emoji. Switch to post for a second. Gotta go. Have a great day, everyone. Thank you for being here, Sky. Appreciate you, dude. How do I let go of the fear of my physical symptoms? Again, it's going to come down to what you tell yourself, right? So fear is there as a symptom itself, but it's going to be what you tell yourself that's going to determine whether you continue to fuel that fire or not. This was a really good stream. We had a lot of good questions today. And I was really happy with the point of the stream as well. So this is a good one. All right, let's see here. Turn that frown upside down. If you are the victim to your situation, then you have put all of your power into being helpless rather than empowered. Yes, I love it. It's always a choice. Couldn't have said it any better myself, Luis. Amen. Sure many of us have been there. Yeah, confusing the two. Oh, I can almost guarantee it. Yeah. Absolutely. Scrolling up through the comments a little bit. I don't think we've missed anything from what I can tell. Rick, thank you so much for the $10 tip, dude. I appreciate you. Let's get some purple hearts in the chat. Thank you so much. If it wasn't for our tippers, guys, we could not do this, right? Obviously, we could not do this. So please show some love to the tippers. Please show some love. Thank you, thank you. They help keep the show on the road, so show them all the love in the world. Drop some purple hearts. It takes much longer, right, for you to type out all of your questions than it does to type some purple hearts. So why not show some love to the people that make it possible for you to ask your questions, right? So get some purple hearts in the chat, guys. Get some purple hearts for Soccer Mom and Rick. Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you. Hope you're having an awesome day, Rick. Guys, we are 30 away for the tip goal, and we are a couple minutes from the end of the stream. So, again, we are down to the wire here. You guys are going to give me a heart attack with these close calls that we've been having. But thank you so much, Soccer Mom. Thank you, Rick. Appreciate you. Thank you, Kate, for the purple hearts. Thank you, Kate, for the purple hearts. A good day. I love to hear it. Love to hear it, dude. Thank you for being here, and thank you for supporting, man. I appreciate the support. I really, really do. Thank you, thank you. AVG, thank you for the purple hearts, dude. A lot of symptoms again. Eventually, I just stood up to them and got better, but then I got new symptom. Yeah, so you went back to the old negative inner voice and the old negative behaviors, right? Like coping methods, compulsions, all that good stuff. You basically just went from negative habits to positive habits and then back to negative habits again. So we just need to do it again one more time, and then we need to stay put on those positive habits. It's easy to backslide into negative habits. It's easy. You're human, right? You're a human being. You're not perfect. So it's understandable and it's easy to do, but you know, just get back on board, get back on track. We'll get it back. We'll gain the progress back. It ain't going nowhere. It ain't going nowhere. We got it. Thank you again, Rick and Soccer Mom. Appreciate you guys for the support. Bum, bum, bum. Got some Halloween tunes going today in the background. Also, guys, check me out on other social media, man. I'm on other social media. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all that good stuff. I even have a TikTok. Not that I use it that much, but I technically still have one. So, vacate fear on all that good stuff. Check it out. Appreciate all the likes, all the support. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, guys. Anybody have any final questions? Final questions. Get them in. Get them in. My rational mind hasn't caught on yet. Well, it's not activated, right? And you can't force that to happen. So you accept that fight or flight has got the reins right now, but through accepting it, you are actually in control. Through accepting it, you will be one step closer, or many steps closer, rather, to getting your rational self to come back out again. But yeah, you're absolutely right. Last call for questions, guys. Last call for questions. We're about to wrap this one up. CPTSD? I'll be honest, I've never heard of that. I've never heard of that. CPTSD? Complex PTSD? Some symptoms of PTSD along with some additional symptoms. Yes. I'm going to say yes just from the little brief amount that I read there. Of course, feel free to get second opinions on that, right? I never discourage anyone from seeing anything like a therapist, or if you want second opinions. I am not a therapist. Hey, what bro? I get thoughts of that life in general feels weird. What do I do with that? Nothing, right? Nothing. You tell yourself that this is to be expected, right? This is to be expected. With anxiety, fight or flight is going to send you irrational thoughts, and that's what fight or flight does, and you accept that for what that is, and that's your job. Your job is that accepting inner voice, right? Instead of trying to figure it out. That's what's keeping you so stressed, right? That's what's keeping this brain in the state of alarm, in the state of fight or flight. But how you doing, JT? What's up, man? Hope you're doing well. Maddie! Maddie. You have saved tip goal. We were doing our final round of questions, and we were going to shut it down. But you have saved the tip goal. Please, everybody, please. It only takes a second to drop some purple hearts in the chat. I see you in here. I see you talking. So I expect some purple hearts from you. Thank you so much, Maddie, for the tip goal. We are on a 205-day streak now. Thank you. I appreciate you guys so much. The list of names here, we've got Soccer Mom, we've got Rick, and we've got Maddie coming in with the 30, saving the streak. Thank you guys so much. That's a 205-day streak. Thank you, Rick, for the purple hearts. Yes, let's get some purple hearts. If you're new here or just unfamiliar with the concept, we use purple hearts here to show love and gratitude to our tippers. Like I said, we should always show love and gratitude to our tippers. They make it possible for you guys to, come in here and ask your questions, right? So we should show them all the love in the world. They support me, and they support me being able to do the channel. So, yeah, show some love. Rick, thank you for the purple hearts. Kate, thank you. Purple hearts, there you go, or just write it out. I mean, either way, we get our point across. Thank you so much, appreciate it. Hope you're doing okay, Wonder Bro. Let's see, doing better thanks to listening to your channel. Well, thank you for that. I appreciate the positivity, dude. I'm doing well. Thank you, JT, for the purple hearts. Paula, thank you for the purple hearts. Oh, there they are. You found them, purple hearts. There we go. Everybody get the purple hearts in your recent emojis. Go ahead and get those in your recent emojis, because you're going to be using them here, right? But yes, thank you. Purple hearts show love and gratitude for our tippers. Those names one last time: Soccer Mom, Rick, and Maddie. Thank you guys so much. That's a 205-day streak. I really do appreciate the support for the streams. Thank you guys. Thank you. Obviously can't do it without your support, so thank you so much. Feel free if you got a second, guys, to head on over to that thumbs up and give this stream a big thumbs up. A big thumbs up. Everybody hit the like button. I want to see the number go up. I got it right here. I can see it right where I am. I want to see it go up. Thank you guys for all the support. And any way that you support, I appreciate it. This has been a great stream today with a ton of good questions. And I'm really happy with the point of the stream. Yeah, if you missed it and you're joining us late, it's one of those streams that I highly recommend you go back and watch. So, thank you, Wonder Bro. Thank you, Maddie. I appreciate you. Thank you, thank you. 30 is no small tip, so thank you so much for that. I appreciate it. And thank you, everybody else. Thank you, Rick. Thank you, Soccer Mom. And all of you lovely people for watching and liking and all that good stuff. All that good stuff, man. We got one more like. We got one more like added to the board. We're getting ready to end the stream. Can we get a few more before we end the stream? A few more likes before we end the stream. We're at 16. Let's see if we can get to 18. We're at 16. Let's see if we can get to 18. We need 2 more likes. 2 more likes. Hey, thank you for the purple hearts. Appreciate you. I'm so sorry that you've been watching me for years, and I think years. I don't know. And I still can't pronounce your name. Your username. All right, beautiful people. I don't think there's anything left to say. This was a solid stream. It was a good stream. We hit our goal. Thank you guys so much for that. Thank you for watching. Thank you for commenting and the questions and the likes. Every like helps the channel grow. It affects the algorithm, and it helps get my videos and content out to people that may be suffering that need them. So I do appreciate the likes. But yeah, I think that's everything today, guys. Another one for the books, and we're going to go ahead and wrap it up here. Thank you for watching. I love you oh so much. I hope you have a fantastic rest of your night or day, whatever time it is for you. And until next time, as always, I love you, beautiful people. I love you. Let's get to 11K. Stay awesome. Hey, also, ring that notification bell, man. We'd love to see you live in the next stream. We'd love to hear from you. Ring that notification bell. Stay awesome.